Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Franny and I'm one half of the Indecisive Readers. Today I'm here to film my September TBR, and for September I'm mostly going to be focusing on the Enthusathon, which is a month-long readathon hosted by Charlotte and Abby, and I will link all the information for the challenges for their profiles down below. But basically it's just a very chill readathon to read whatever books you want, but those books that you're really excited to finally read. And so I have my TBR ready and just thought I'd go through and share it with you. So there are 12 prompts. There are 3 golden prompts. If you get one of those, you get a bingo automatically, and then there are normal bingo prompts where you have to get 3 in a row to get bingo. You can use a book for up to 3, I think, and if you use it for 3 they can't be in the same row, but you can use it for more than 1. I do have 11 books for it. I will explain why I don't have 12 when I get to that prompt, but I have also worked out where they double up, so if I can't read all of them, hopefully I should cross them all off, although I haven't quite worked out how that works, but you know, it does exist, so you never know, it might happen. So the first golden prompt is a book that the news has made you want to read. So for this I have chosen Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race by Rennie Edo-Lodge. This is a non-fiction about race written by a black person, and it's one that I have been I put it on loan from the library back in June, but I just haven't had the chance to pick it up yet, and I have been reading other books about race and so wanted to read one a month rather than trying to squeeze them all into 1 month, and so hopefully I'm going to finally get to it in September. The next prompt is to read a book with LGBT+ characters. For this I'm going to read Full Disclosure by Cameron Garrett. This is a YA contemporary about a girl who is HIV positive, but I think is going into her first relationship. I believe this has LGBT+ characters because the main character is bisexual, but if that is wrong, I have other books I can just mix around and we should be okay. The next prompt is to read a book by an author of colour, and for this I have chosen The Black Kids by Christina Hammonds Reed. I picked this up yesterday and it's about a girl who believes she's just one of the kids until the Rodney riots, I think they're called, happen, and then she realises she's not just one of the kids, she's one of the black kids. She realises that everything that happens to her doesn't necessarily happen to all of her friends, and I think this sounds like a really interesting book. I actually have a lot of books on my TBR by authors of colour this month, so I may mix them around a bit, but that is definitely one I'm looking forward to reading, and I think it's an important book to be reading, and also I might read it for the one about the news, but like I said, we can mix around a bit. So for the first prompt on the normal bingo board is a book you've wanted to read for ages, and for that I have chosen A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This is a YA mystery, I think, thriller maybe, where a girl decides she wants to solve what is supposedly a closed case, but she doesn't believe it, and so she goes about and works it out, and it's done in the format of her A-level essay, and so it's got workings, it's got notes, and I think it's meant to be a really interesting book, and it's one I've been wanting to read for ages. I finally have it on my Kindle, so I should hopefully read it next month. The next prompt is the physical book you most want to read. So for this I have Queen of Coin and Whispers by Helen Corcoran. This is a YA fantasy about a young queen who's just taken over, I think, from her uncle, who has left the realm in a bit of a mess, and then she falls in love with her spy master. I'm sure there is more to it than that, but a lot of people have said if you like the politics in Priory you will like this, and because I liked Priory so much I have high expectations for this. And I finally physically got hold of it. I've been waiting for it forever. It took forever to turn up and I pre-ordered it, but it still took a long time. The next prompt is the book that social media has you excited about, and for this I have The Black Flamingo by Dean Atter. This is a book written in verse, which is a type of book I don't usually go for, but I'm really excited to read this. I've heard really good things about it. It has LGBT plus characters and has a young boy going through all the stages of his life and going into drag, I think. But a lot of people I've heard have read this recently, and so I'm really excited to read it. The next book is to read something from your favourite genre, and my favourite genre, or the genre I tend to go for most, is fantasy, and so for that I have chosen Kingdom of Souls, The Last Witch Doctor by Rena Barron. This, I don't really know what it's about, but I think it's about a girl who keeps sacrificing years of her life for magic, and I have heard amazing things about this, and so when I saw it for sale in Waterstones I picked it up, and so therefore I should try and get to it soon. But also I believe it is based on African mythology somewhere, and the myth take reads kind of theme is African or Nigerian mythology, and so therefore because I have read the book of the month I'm trying to read some other ones, and this is one of the ones. There is another one coming up. Then the next prompt is newest book you're dying to read. Now this isn't the newest released book, but it is probably the newest release that I am most excited for, and that is The Empire of Gold by S.A. Chakraborty. This is the third book in the David trilogy, which is a series I absolutely love. I was so excited for the final one to come out, and now I have it and haven't read it yet because it is quite chunky and I want to take my time savouring it, but I also have the audiobook and a NetGalley arc, so I really should get to it. The first book focuses on a young girl called Nari who is about 18, living in Cairo. She's a con woman, and she suddenly accidentally summons a djinn and is whisked away to a magical city in the desert. Now this is the third one, so obviously a lot more has gone on, but I can't wait to read it. I'm really excited to read it. The next prompt is most want to read from favourite author. Now one of my favourite authors is Holly Bourne, and therefore I'm going to try and read Pretending, which is her most recent adult novel, and it's about a girl who I think has always pretended to be someone else when she's dating. I don't really know actually, but she's fallen in love and now has to kind of readjust her living situation maybe. But it's Holly Bourne. All of her books have been really good. I have this as an ebook and I'm really excited to read it, and I'm kind of surprised I haven't yet, but yes, maybe now will be the time I finally get to it. The next prompt is to read something based on the cover, and for this I have chosen A Song of Wraiths and Ruin by Roseanne A. Brown. I have ordered the Fairy Loot edition of this, which has the normal cover but I think has green sprayed edges, and I'm very excited to read it. It's very shiny, it looks really pretty, and again I do know what it's about but I can't quite remember. I think there's a girl who is a princess and a guy who sisters get hurt or die, and he wants to kill the princess and she needs to steal a king's heart and so needs a husband, and therefore they're gonna fall in love. I'm not quite sure, but the cover looks amazing and I'm very excited to read it. The next prompt is the one I'm not quite sure what I'm going to read for, and that is A Book You Need to Review. I will probably be doing it on a NetGalley arc, but I am focusing this month's reading, so August reading, on reading NetGalley books, and I'm filming this quite early on in the month, so I don't quite know what I will have read by the end of the month, but depending on what there is, I will probably fill it in the description. The final prompt is the book you're determined to read in 2020. Now for this I have put Fire by Andy Sage, which is the final book in the September TBR series. I put this down because I've been meaning to read this since probably about 2015. It's the final book in my absolute favourite series, but I've been putting it off because I don't want the series to end, and I've read up to the 5th one again this year, so I do still need to read the 6th one, so this one seems unlikely, but I really want to read it, but also I don't, and I was like, I'm determined to read it this year, and now that I've got to like towards the end again, I'm like, but I don't want to. So if I haven't read the 6th one, I will obviously have to rearrange this, but I don't know what to do. I do want to read it. I'm excited to read it, but also I don't want to read it because I don't want it to be over. But yeah, if you are joining in or if you want any information, please let me know in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!